Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here. I know the afternoon session is probably the hardest to fill because you've got a long day. So a little good morning is a trick I use for a pick-me-up so that you can still have the same energy level and passion as, after your morning coffee. So thank you all for being here. My name is Vanessa Hendriadi. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Rework, a co-working platform I started almost 2 years ago. Before I start, I would like to thank Walt Digital for giving me the opportunity to share not only about Rework, but also about my dream and my passion that I have through the work that I do. So now I would like to start by showing you a short video for you guys to enjoy.
Rework is far beyond a workspace. We are about celebrating the journey of growth for entrepreneurs and businesses as one ecosystem. We chose our tagline, "Where your best happens," for a reason, because we believe that what we are creating is an integral part of your growth. Exciting workspace, uplifting communities, inspiring events and content in one integrated platform.
There's a few things that I love about Rework. Will be the people, the team, ranging from the CEO herself to the office boys. They're very attentive, very thoughtful, and making sure that the members get what they need.
They have a very beautiful place here, and then they offer free coffee as well. The crew, all of them are friendly.
The network and community is very, very important. We want to make sure that we are able to connect and get as many resources possible from this co-working space.
I love the atmosphere. So basically, it's very bright, all the colors are very nice, and so it keeps me motivated and gives me creative ideas.
Part of Rework's added value is through having content and attending the events. You can get to meet new people you haven't met and have those discussions. Maybe you can find new team members or business opportunities through these types of content and events. So through these ways, Rework can certainly help increase your productivity, but also open up new opportunities you might not have had before.
Thank you so much for the sound. So for those of you who have not heard about Rework, you probably have some idea about what we do through the short video that you just saw. So in February 2016, Rework started as a small co-working space in 150 square meter tiny space on the 26th floor of City Walk in Sudirman in CBD Jakarta. There are only 3 employees. It was me and 2 office boys. Fast forward almost 2 years later, we are now one of the leading co-working platforms in Indonesia, having successfully fundraised 2 rounds of financing, grew to more than 100 partners, organizations, and member companies. Within 2 months of our openings in our locations, we are 100% occupied, and we are growing organically our community and database to more than 3,000 people now. And after the fundraise, we are now in a growth mode. So within the next few months, we are going to have operating and constructing in more than 10 locations in Indonesia, giving more access and accessibility and also network for our community and our members. So, before I dwell into more about the business, I want to use this opportunity to introduce myself as well. Because if you know nothing about me, then I don't see a reason why you should sit here and listen to the rest of my presentation, right? Fact 1, I'm actually a chemical engineer. Soon enough, my parents knew that this was probably the worst investments they've ever made. Because why? Fact 2, I love networking and I love to be around people. So the idea of being trapped in a lab and being a lab rat for the rest of my career life did not really appeal to me. A people person is probably an understatement to describe me. That's what my friend said. So how do I channel all these extroversion in me? I always love, growing up, I always loved to be very busy with organizations. I find myself either starting or organizing, leading different associations, events, and that pretty much kept me busy in most of my evenings and my weekends. And that's how I knew about community and community building from when I was very young, because I was very involved in it, and that's something that I really love doing. My career in Indonesia started about a decade ago. Hopefully it didn't show. I came from the US, and I joined a large traditional manufacturing company that my parents started. I was managing and responsible for the market expansion, and also developing systems in a very highly operational business. 4 years ago, my role expanded to also manage the property assets of the company, and that's how my interest on real estate really sparked. So real estate definitely serves the basic human needs, right? Therefore, it is the most conventional and the most traditional industry there is. And over generations, we've seen how innovations, creativity, and visions have helped real estate transform the way people live in so many different ways. So I love to travel as well. So whenever I travel, my attention always drawn into really cool things that they do in office buildings and malls, retail, etc. So in October 2015, my husband and I went to the US. And we had some meetings there. It was always work and play whenever we travel. And we stepped into one of the largest co-working spaces in Silicon Valley. My eyes opened wide. That was the first time I saw how a space could transform the way people work, the way people interact, the way people do business, and socialize as well, because they looked like they had so much fun there. And we've never seen this when you go to a corporate, like traditional office, right? That people actually have fun at work. So immediately, I saw it coming. Real estate, community building, and innovations. The three biggest interests and passion I have in life, and it all combined in this one concept. So we saw the opportunity when we came back to Indonesia, and the way people work is changing, and it will continue to change. We see that millennial workers have very high adoption in technology, and we all here, millennials or not, are required to be connected, to be online, anytime and anywhere. We all know that. But yet, if you look at traditional offices, the look, the feel, and the purpose that it serves has not changed since hundreds of years ago. It is quite odd, right? And we see that this opportunity with traditional offices and transforming offices so that allow people to collaborate more, which traditional offices don't have. So that is something that sparks, and we see that the market is ripe in Indonesia. So I think it's safe to say that almost all of you here know and have a good understanding about how big Indonesia market is. You've probably seen the market opportunity slides in Indonesia and every single tech conferences you go to this year about Indonesia. We have the sheer market size. We have a very interesting mix of demographic. We have very high internet adoption rate, and our population is very young. More than 160 million people are in the workforce age. What some of you probably don't know, especially for those of you who just come to Jakarta for the first time, is that we have really crappy infrastructure, right? And therefore, the productivity of Indonesian people are super low, and I don't blame them. Have you heard of people commuting to work, and it takes them 3 hours from their home to their office, and another 4 hours to go back? It happens to one of my team members. And I probably never heard of this anywhere else in the world, right? But this is one of the things that we experience in a country. Another thing that you probably don't know about Indonesia is that office market here is, even in Jakarta alone, is more than $2 billion turnover. And this market is very ripe to be disrupted by collaborative workspaces and flexible workspaces that now only comprise of 2.5%, only less than 3% of the whole office market in CBD Jakarta alone. It is forecasted to be 10 to 15%, occupying 10 to 15% of office space within 5 years. So, of course, it's foolish to say that we are the only person who recognizes this. And if you search online, there are probably more than 100 co-working spaces now in Jakarta, starting in the last 3 years, from the very small ones, maybe garage-size co-working space, all the way to some of the larger overseas players that we know of that are already eyeing to come into Indonesia. So how are we different? Certainly, we have the local expertise, which is very, very important in execution in this market, in any of the market. And having a head start in the business, we have the knowledge, the connection, and also the momentum to gain scale. A user experience, because of our long-standing relationship with property players and property conglomerates in Indonesia, we have initial access to strategic locations, proven by the first 3 locations that we have are connected to a great retail space, making us the only co-working space that has the integration of life, work, and play, which is something that we need. Technology is something that we committed from day one as well. So we are the only co-working spaces in Indonesia that is investing in technology from day one when we launched. So we have a mobile app that also enhances the user experience, allow us to get data from our customers, and also allow our members to connect with each other and share resources. And that relates to community. I think community and nurtured community is the heart and soul of our business. Because without it, we are as soulless as another nice decorated office that is very easily replicated. So we really invest our effort on nurturing our community by throwing not just quantity but quality events that we curate, and we make sure that the members can get value out of it. We also give global access through the membership profile that we have, also through our partners and investors. Our positioning is also empowered by a dedicated management team and advisory board that is very strong expertise from real estate, finance, technology, and also community. We have a board range of investors that have global access as well. 500 startups. If 500 startups are here, raise your hand. Convergence Ventures, some of our angel investors and VCs, and recently also by Rework. Rework, if you have not heard of them, is the second largest co-working enterprises in the world, based in China. So who are our members? So you might think that co-working space is only for startups and entrepreneurs, but we see that more and more larger companies are also interested in working into co-working space. So we have a tagline in the beginning of in the video. In the beginning, I showed it as well. It's where your best happens. I think at the end of the day, for me as a founder and for my team, the most important thing is to see that our efforts and what we do and the facilities and the business that we build really helps people to be at their best, whether they're entrepreneurs or large corporate. So that's why we're committed to build our footprints and our network in the near future. So last but not least, in the spirit of collaboration, I have a quote from one of my favorite artists. Collaborate with people you can learn from. Thank you very much.